Good day. My name is Dr. Fred Awaah, and I come to you from Accra, Ghana, West Africa. And in today's edition of Practical Guide to Research with Awaah, we want to look at writing a good literature review, writing a good literature review. So this video is not intended to be long. First, you would have to report the study. That is the literature that you have found somewhere that you are putting in your report, your research, thesis, etc., etc. Usually it's chapter number 2 or under literature review if it's a paper for publication. Now, it is also expected that you interpret the study in relation to how it connects to your study. You just don't dump the study in there. That will just be a compilation of literature. So this could be in context, how it relates to your study in context, in methodology, locations of the study, etc., etc., depending on the analytical abilities of the researcher, other variables would apply. Number 3, I caution. Note that it is not just a compilation of literature, but rather a review. You would find that in a number of instances, the literature review component is just populated with reports of other people's studies without any touch by the current researcher. So this is it for what I think should get into a good literature review. Now let's go to practice, 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 practice. So I have sample number 1. Sample number 1. But before we go to sample number 1, if you still do not know how to use Google Scholar to write a good literature review, I recommend this study, this video that I did, referencing a literature review on Google Scholar. It will, if you are a beginner, that will give you, that will enhance your understanding of what we are doing now. So we said that, let me just move back a bit. We said that the number 1 is report the study or studies. So we are taking a sample. So the study that we are reporting here and the literature review is the work of Ogunshola and Adewale, 2012. Their study on the influence of parental socioeconomic status on students' performance found that parental educational background did not have a significant effect on the academic performance of the students. Now, so you realize that the researcher who has reviewed this literature just didn't leave it at what Ogunshola and Adewale said. So they went on to now give some relationships or some interpretations. So they made some commentary around it. So they said this can be interpreted as a result of parents not being influential in understanding concepts in the study of subjects. Irrespective of being illiterate or not, parents' influence does not affect students' understanding of concepts. Specifically, public administration, for instance, is a specialized area. Thus, being literate is not enough for a parent to understand the concepts and further influence one's understanding of the same. However, instances may exist where the parent's educational background may influence students' understanding of the study of concepts in public administration, especially when the parent has a knowledge in public sector management. So you realize that this author, now drawing from the works of Ogunshola and Adewale 2012, tried to contextualize their study. Ogunyele's study was not necessarily in the area of public administration, but both studies have something in common: parental educational background, how it influences students' understanding of the two subjects. In the case of the interpreter, he was using Ogunyele's work in review, in the literature review component of his study that has to do with public administration. So you realize that he gave some opinions. So clearly, he just did not report the study, but he gave a critical review. So that is why it is literature review and not literature compilation. I'm going to take a second example Applying classification models to identify college students at risk of failing in the first year of study, Gray, McGuinness, and Owende 2014 found that mature students were more complex to model than younger students. Furthermore, tenfold cross-validation accurately estimated model performance when modeling younger students only, but overestimated model accuracy when modeling mature students. So the author has borrowed this from the works of Gray, McGuinness, and Owende 2014. Did the author just leave it there? No. He also tried to comment on it, give it a review. So he says, however, the sample size of 1,074 is twice larger than the current study. So this study by Gray et al. 2014 had a sample of 1,074, but the current study perhaps has the current study had something lesser, way lesser. So they used that to establish, to run a commentary or a review around the literature. So you hear, you note that the reviewer said, the author noted that the sample size of 1,074 is twice larger than the current study, thus making it a good source to what? Reference, although the study focused only on students in their first year of study. So in the work of Gray et al., they concentrated only in what? Students in their first year of study. However, the current research looked at 12-year students. I think that when you look at the study is is referenced here, you could go get it, and then you see the sample size. Then again, the third sample says, Masao and Abere 2015 in a survey found that there was no significant difference in means between teacher qualification and student performance in science, maths, and technology. Again, our author came down to give it a review. The findings may be related to the maturity level of students. Arguably, if a student is mature, the confidence or otherwise of a teacher will not influence their understanding. The very basis of the understanding may be how the teacher himself understands the concept and how he communicates that in simple and practical terms for the learner to comprehend. Further, it may be related to the prevalence of previous knowledge of the concept or subject to the student. So in all three instances, you realize that they were not compilations of literature, but literature review. So literature review, ladies and gentlemen, has to do with a critical interpretation of the literature you would have reviewed for your study. On that note, my name is Dr. Fred Awaah, and I bring you good tidings from Ghana. Until we see ourselves again in our next video, it's